The 7 Books of Moses likely developed as part of a broader trend within Judaism where secret and hidden knowledge, often in the form of magical or ritualistic texts, was attributed to Moses. This phenomenon was not unique to Judaism. Many cultures throughout history have attributed magical powers and hidden wisdom to their revered figures. In the case of the 7 Books of Moses, these texts were believed to contain powerful spells, rituals, and teachings that were able to manipulate natural forces, spirits, and divine powers. The 7 Books of Moses are typically divided into 7 distinct sections or books, though the exact contents of these books can vary depending on the version and tradition. In general, the books are believed to contain magical spells, invocations, prayers, and instructions for rituals that are meant to draw on divine power or manipulate the physical world in a variety of ways. Each of the books is associated with different kinds of magical operations or spiritual practices. While there is no single, universally accepted version of the 7 Books of Moses, the texts usually contain the following elements. This book typically focuses on Moses' spiritual authority and divine power. It includes prayers and rituals that invoke the names of angels, divine beings, and other spiritual entities. The central idea is that Moses, through his unique relationship with God, possessed special access to divine knowledge and power, and these rituals are meant to help the practitioner access that power. In this book, the focus is on the names of God, which are considered to hold special power in mystical traditions. The book usually includes instructions for meditations and prayers designed to invoke divine assistance. These prayers often involve the use of holy names, such as the Tetragrammaton, YHWH, the 4-letter name of God. This book deals with the use of symbols and sigils. Sigils are graphical representations of divine names, mystical pa. The concept of the 7 Books of Moses appears to have roots in Jewish mysticism and esoteric traditions. While the exact origins of these texts remain unclear, they likely emerged in the Middle Ages within the context of Jewish Kabbalistic traditions. Jewish mysticism had a long history before the medieval period, especially with the Merkava, or chariot, mysticism of the first few centuries CE, which focused on esoteric interpretations of the Hebrew Bible and mystical experiences of the divine. During the medieval period, Kabbalistic key thinkers began to develop more elaborate mystical systems that explored the hidden and secret meanings of the Torah. Among the mystical texts that arose during this time were works that were believed to be secret teachings of Moses. These texts were often presented as hidden knowledge, and many were framed as being of divine origin or as being passed down through an unbroken chain of oral transmission, from Moses to subsequent generation. Several early Jewish texts and traditions may have influenced the development of the 7 Books of Moses. The Book of Enoch. This ancient Jewish text is a collection of apocalyptic writings that describe the journeys and revelations of Enoch, the great-grandfather of Noah. While not directly related to the 7 Books of Moses, it is part of the esoteric Jewish tradition that emphasized mystical knowledge and the hidden secrets of the universe. The Sefer Yetzirah, one of the most important Kabbalistic works. The Sefer Yetzirah, Book of Creation, discusses the creation of the universe through the use of the Hebrew alphabet and the mystical meanings of letters and numbers. This book laid much of the groundwork for later mystical works, including the 7 Books of Moses, or intentions, and are used in the magical practices described in this book. The practitioner is taught how to create and use these symbols to call forth supernatural forces and influence the world around them. This book contains incantations or chants that are meant to be spoken or recited to summon spirits, angels, or divine powers. The incantations are considered to be highly potent and are used to achieve various magical effects, such as healing, protection, or divine favor. This book focuses on angelology and spirit summoning. It contains instructions on how to communicate with and command various angels and spirits. These beings are believed to possess different attributes and abilities, and the practitioner can call upon them for help in various areas of life, from protection to personal transformation. This book is often considered the most important of the 7 books, as it contains the most detailed and complex magical rituals. It provides instructions for performing sacred ceremonies that are designed to establish a connection with the divine. These rituals may involve the use of sacred objects, such as amulets or talismans, and may require the practitioner to enter a state of altered consciousness in order to communicate with the divine world. This book is believed to contain the ultimate knowledge or revelation that Moses received from God. It includes teachings about the nature of the universe, the divine plan, and the hidden mysteries of creation. The text emphasizes the importance of spiritual enlightenment and the ultimate goal of returning to the divine source. In the context of the 7 books of Moses, the figure of Moses is seen not only as a prophet and lawgiver but also as a magical figure with access to powerful divine knowledge. The texts often portray Moses as a mediator between the divine and human realms, someone who was given special knowledge to govern the physical and spiritual worlds. This connection between Moses and divine power. Hidden mysteries of creation. The text emphasizes the importance of spiritual enlightenment and the ultimate goal of returning to the divine source. In the context of the 7 books of Moses, the figure of Moses is seen not only as a prophet and lawgiver but also as a magical figure with access to powerful divine knowledge. The texts often portray Moses as a mediator between the divine and human realms, someone who was given special knowledge to govern the physical and spiritual worlds. This connection between Moses and divine power can be traced to various elements in the Torah, where Moses is depicted as performing miraculous acts and receiving revelation from God. The 7 books of Moses take these aspects of Moses' character and expand upon them, presenting him as a master of both spiritual and magical knowledge. In this way, Moses becomes a central figure in Jewish mystical traditions, embodying the potential to access hidden divine wisdom and influence the forces of nature. The 7 books of Moses had a significant impact on Western esoteric traditions, particularly those associated with Hermeticism, alchemy, and occultism. Many of the magical techniques described in the 7 books influenced later occult traditions, and the texts themselves were often passed down through secret societies or groups with an interest in mysticism and spiritual enlightenment. In the Renaissance and early modern periods, the 7 books were sometimes cited by alchemists and magicians who believed in the power of symbols, names, and rituals to influence the material and spiritual worlds. Figures like John Dee, the famous Elizabethan mathematician and magician, are believed to have had access to similar esoteric texts and may have been influenced by the same mystical traditions. The 7 books of Moses were often kept in secret and were not widely available to the general public. As with many magical texts, access to the books was typically restricted to initiates or thas, or esoteric circles. The texts were often copied by hand and passed down through small, secretive communities, and they were sometimes written in cipher or code to protect their contents from being discovered by outsiders. Over time, however, the 7 books of Moses began to circulate more widely, and some versions were eventually printed and made available to the public. This expanded the influence of the texts and allowed them to reach a broader audience, including those interested in the mystical traditions of Judaism and those seeking spiritual power through magical means. While the 7 books of Moses have had a lasting influence on various mystical and occult traditions, they have also been the subject of criticism. Many religious authorities, particularly within mainstream Judaism and Christianity, view the texts with skepticism or outright disapproval. The practice of magic and occultism is often seen as incompatible with the teachings of mainstream religion, and some critics argue that the 7 books of Moses promote practices that are contrary to traditional religious values. In addition, some scholars have raised questions about the authenticity of the texts and the attribution to Moses. Many historians believe that the 7 books of Moses were not actually written by Moses but were instead the product of later Jewish mystics who attributed the texts to him in order to lend them greater author. The 7 books of Moses represent a fascinating intersection of Jewish mysticism, magical practices, and spiritual knowledge. These texts, while not part of the mainstream religious tradition, have had a profound influence on Kabbalistic teachings, Western esotericism, and the development of occult practices over the centuries. Whether viewed as sacred texts, magical guides, or mystical teachings, the 7 books of Moses continue to intrigue and inspire those seeking deeper understanding of the hidden dimensions of reality and the mystical aspects of life. Despite the controversy and skepticism surrounding them, the books remain a key part of the rich tapestry of Jewish mystical literature and occult tradition. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button for more, so to be notified anytime we upload a video. Please hit the subscribe button so anytime we upload you will be notified.